But yet the statistics show that for the last 3 years, we have seen a direct trending downward in all major crimes, and for the last 2 years, a trending downward in murders. What accounts for the inconsistency between the perspective of the public and the statistics that we put out?
Thank you for having us, Mr. Prime Minister, and thank you for that question. Coming from somewhere that is highly viewed as one of those areas riddled with crime, I would say because, and it leads back to the answer that my colleague just gave, we Jamaicans are more open to give opinions. So we're seeing them having more access to information. So even though it may seem that to them everything is going out of control and there is more murders, more crime, and our stats is showing that we have a decline, I think because social media has idolized the gruesome images, the getting the information out there.
Hold on there. Me no mean for disturb when Michael Nepper, Evan, Green, Gloria, Morris, Marcia Gray, morning. You notice the blame always go back to social media as because social media show we. And no happen it happen, you know. Jesus, good morning. And no happen, it happen. As social media walk and pick you up, show we. That's what they would have us believe.
They're seeing so much more of what is happening. Nowadays, when somebody dies, instead of hearing it through a telephone call or somebody sending a letter, they're now seeing.
Listen, lady, we move on from PayPal. A long time we don't write PayPal. Me in England 25 years, and me never write a letter send back home yet, lady. So why you think people, Ruby, good morning? Why you think anybody should have want to phone we or write we and tell we say somebody dead when they can't show we? Say then dead. Like seriously, lady? You don't want to go back in a pen pal when we read AI? I mean, AI, pen pal. How you compare the two of them? You want to go back in the days where somebody phone we or write we and tell we say somebody dead? And then we still talk about technology? Hey, Jesus have mercy upon what they are talking about that I don't know, Norman Ferguson.
In it on social media, even before the news brings it across. So because of them having more access to information all across Jamaica, it is as if, or it appears, that more is happening. But in truth, it's just that they're seeing or having access to more of what is going on around them.
So if I may interpret, sorry, you wanted to add to that point?
Thank you, sir, and well said, my colleague. And just to add to that, Sir Prime Minister, is one of the things that we're seeing now more than ever is the mass shootings and killings. So before, we'd see killing happening, for example, in Rockfort, where I'm from, you would see a 1 murder or 2 murder, but to have like a 5 or 6, when somebody sees that, it jumps out to them and says, but nothing is happening, crime is not going down, but really the statistics are. We have the little breakdown.
Thank you for having us, Prime Minister.
I was going to ask 6 questions. I don't
Right. On this topic, I think that even though we have murders trending down, the story needs to be told, and so we can't have this information, cooped up or hidden. So we have to be constantly saying that the numbers are going down. These are the approaches that we're taking, and that will give citizens some more reassurance. I keep saying, if we have the success stories and we don't tell them, nobody will know. So we need to start pushing that these are happening, and so more rigorously. I will say that we are pushing, but it needs to be more rigorous.
And to add to that, we have been doing what needs to be done to.
Hold on there. Addition max this morning, a source of addition, a source of and to add to that. But how contradictory though that the same social media what uno blame say I tell we say crime up. Uno claim Norman Ferguson say crime down, but uno not use social media enough. Say go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere that crime is done. So why uno not use social media? Why not make everybody use social media better than uno? Hmm? She wants to send telegram cousin. Huh? Like you know when Mima and all them people that did and we have to send telegram in England back in them days, the murder. And that she want bring we back to. Wait until you get the telegram. Hmm? No,
To
sir,
do
it's terrible
the
bad.
sensitization to the public. So we have liaison officers like myself and Miss Allen who have been trained by the capable, more than capable CCN corporate communication network, and we are now able to give the stories out of the divisions, out of the areas, to the mainstream media and for them to see what the JCF is doing. So because we won an award, persons are now paying more attention to our platforms, and now we have more trained individuals in areas that can have them know and see the good things that the JCF has been doing, and also project and look forward to what we continue to do.
All very good answers. And if I may consolidate everything with my interpretation of the answers given. What you are saying is that we exist in an era where the average person has instantaneous access to information. But the information and access to data does not always translate into knowledge. It does not always translate into the correct interpretation, and it may influence wrong perceptions. So information without context is as dangerous as being ignorant. And in fact, information without context is very dangerous. And therefore, you are saying that the JCF, having recognizes that you have stepped up your information operations, both in terms of your social media and in terms of your corporate communications. How do you put information to the public, and how do you enlist the public to receive this information and assist you in getting more information? In effect, how do we empower the citizen with information so that they can be effective supporters of the police? And I believe most Jamaicans would agree that your social media strategy and your corporate communications have improved dramatically. And indeed, I dare say that the communication skills of all your members would have improved significantly. When you face the press, I'm sure by virtue of the standard training you receive coming out of training school and in all the courses, you have some amount of training as to how do you communicate information to the public, and that has helped dramatically in improving the confidence and improving the perception of the police force. But you have also pointed out that in the era of instantaneous information, it reinforces the perspective of instant gratification, meaning that, you know, my perception is that murders are high, I want them corrected immediately. Because that is indeed the time in which we live. We live.
You know why I play the whole of that for now? Because we don't have to hear and decide for yourself. I don't understand when Andrew Holness and the police them attack. All them do is keep contradicting themselves. In order to convince where that murder is done, even when they can't stop a man from run out of the Supreme Court building, jump over a balcony and make him way to Western Kingston, they are still trying to convince us they're still trying to convince us that crime is down. Why every time this government fail, this government turn to blame social media? Prove to us that social media is lying. Social media is just putting the information in the public domain that sometimes someone paid for news media like Nationwide, Nationwide, and all of them other people observer, the whole of them were play on the cards. So I don't want to blame us for knowing more. And because we know more, we don't say the truth what Uno tell we. Even though Uno cannot verify full no truth, Uno cannot release the statistics of how these murders are being recorded. There's lots of murder that we are aware of that is published in the social media spheres that we don't see in a phone mainstream news, and we wonder if those murder get underreported or murder in general across the country is underreported. Because what you're all saying to us and what we're seeing, not just on social media, even in your mainstream media, look at the rampant about 5 since Cherokee Lane. Ask yourself that. How much mass shootings have we had since Cherokee Lane? We had what, two about just last week or so on? And the single murders across the country don't stop. But it's been rammed down in our throat to believe that crime is down. Why wouldn't we have the perception that crime, all right, let's just base on the perception, Prime Minister. Look at the mass rise. Look at the rise in mass shooting since the Cherokee Lane massacre. Look at how much mass shootings we've had since then, where multiple people were unalive in these shootings. Each of those unalive people in one mass shooting are a separate crime, Prime Minister. That mass shooting is not recorded as one criminal incident, Prime Minister. How much people dead down at Cherokee Lane? All of those are a separate crime incident or a separate unaliving, plus other offenses that come along with it. So how can you convince us that crime is down when mass shootings is up? It don't make sense. Mass shooting up, but crime is down. Mass killing is up, but crime is down. It doesn't make sense. Continuously pulling the police in front of the camera to convince the nation that crime is down, and as them turn them back, there is a mass killing round the corner, or them can't even manage to guard prisoner within a courtroom. Prisoner escape from courtroom. And one convinced us a crime down. Why we fool if we believe, you know? We fool if we believe on the propaganda. No, this is something that is playing on my mind. There's a security jail at there was a security jail at Sangster International, I believe, yesterday. Now, whenever time I see any government doing security drill, it alerts me. The London 7-7, a lot of Londoners could remember that there was a security drill that coincided with the London terror attack. And it's not one-off where you see in the West here, shortly after security drill, there's some national security disaster at the James. So I just want Jamaica people to be vigilant, because where you see Western governments conducting security drill, sometimes it's a preparedness. All right? So, wanna keep on yourself focused. Me know no me say me mad, but sometimes madness is absolutely necessary. It's quite necessary to be crazy at times. Because sometimes when you're residing in a sensible realm, I've not heard anything more. Read the 10 illegal Cuban that landed on our shores. Them hot for the here. You know, automatically vote the Cuban have voted. And